Ken James and Jason McKittrick, brought to you by Cryptocurium.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of Learning Lovecraft. I'm your host, Jason McKittrick, and with me, as always, the traveler of the Eldritch Path, Mr. Ken James.
Hey, folks.
And tonight, finally another good story. Tonight we're going to be covering the Cats of Ulthar.
Or as I like to call it, the Cats of Ulthar.
I think that's actually the correct pronunciation. So
I thought so.
You're on target.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider this a better tale of supernatural revenge than The Tree, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, 100%. Because I knew what was up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While I was reading, it was like, yeah. I know what's up.
Yeah. It's a tight little story. Everything serves the purpose of the story. There's no ambiguity, and it moves forward. So, first off, it was first published in the literary journal Tryout in November of 1920 during Lovecraft's amateur journalism days, and for this episode, I pulled from the H.P. Lovecraft Encyclopedia and the H.P. Lovecraft Lord of a Visible World, both by S.T. Joshi and David Schultz.
The Josh man himself. All right.
Oh yeah, you gotta pay tribute. So the story starts out, and we get this first amazing quote.
It is said that in Ulthar, which lies beyond the river Sky, no man may kill a cat. And this I can verily believe, as I gaze upon him who sitteth purring before the fire. For the cat is cryptic, and close to strange things, which men cannot see. He is the soul of antique Egyptus, and bearer of tales from forgotten cities in Meroe and Ophir. He is the kin of the jungle's lords, and heir to the secrets of hoary and sinister Africa. The Sphinx is his cousin, and he speaks her language. But he is more ancient than the Sphinx, and remembers that which she hath forgotten.
Yeah, so we get that. He really sets it up for us. Cats. And in rereading this, and I've reread this a bunch of times, every time I read this opening paragraph, I'm reminded of that scene in Constantine. He's looking at the cat's face. He's like, "Oh, one foot in, 1 foot out."
Yeah.
So, so in that little paragraph, we have a mention, and I got to bring it up because we're doing the whole journey here. The River Sky is mentioned, which will return later in the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. So just got to point that out.
Put that in my pocket for later.
Oh yeah, it's building up. We're building the cast of characters,
right.
And locations. Mm-hmm. A new location has been unlocked. So Ken, there's a law in Ulthar that no man may kill a cat.
Yeah.
I mean, some serious business. So we started with, we're given this description of this old cotter. A cotter, I had to look it up. I was like, what exactly is that? Because I honestly...
Yeah.
He's a farm laborer or tenant occupying a cottage in return for labor. So, he lives at a place, but he can only live there if he's, doing some kind of work for whoever owns it.
Right. Basically a farm hand.
Basically, he gets to live there for doing it.
Yeah.
So we got this old cotter and his wife, and they enjoy trapping and killing any cats that wander onto the property. They don't know why, and they seem to take joy in it, killing these cats.
Yeah.
And no one really knows why they like to do it so much. They kind of speculate. Is it all right? Is there a cat outside meowing all night? It pisses the guy off. He can't sleep. We don't know, but I like the description of where they live, that they're in this little cottage that's hidden by these large oaks and at the back of a neglected yard. Doesn't every neighborhood have this house?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's kind of described that way, where it's like, yeah, that is the house where animals will go missing, because either a crazy person or just a psycho lives there.
Yeah.
And especially when you're a kid, you'd be like, oh, don't go near that house. That's the I wouldn't say the spook house, but that's where
the cats disappear.
Yeah. And we also get another little segment from here where Lovecraft tells us that the sounds heard that come from their house, that the deaths of these cats were exceedingly peculiar. So that makes me think they're probably torturing them too.
Yeah.
And you're hearing these like, really loud, like, disgusting. It's just, Lovecraft's being polite, but you obviously get that idea that, these guys are, these two are brutally murdering cats for whatever reason.
Yeah. For whatever purpose.
Yep.
Maybe their clothes are made out of them. Maybe, we don't know.
That's an interesting detail. I mean, I wouldn't resist that one. It's probably true.
Right.
And the funny thing about it is he fully fleshes out this couple, where it's townsfolk kind of keep their distance because they have this like look about them that they have this mean look about them, kind of like that that couple at the beginning of Lord of the Rings that lives in Hobbiton, that just always
right.
But they're afraid of them. Like they hate them, and they know that they're murderers, and that they're
right. Well, right when he described them, I already had the picture in my head. I was like, "Yep, got him, got it." For some reason, though, like the guy's wearing like a dingy wife beater in my head. But
yeah, I mean, back then, what would it be like a dingy
sack of sorts with just cut in the fashion of a tank.
Right. It's just it's just some kind of like rough hewn kind of fabric, and it's it's just gross. They smell. There's probably cat pee smell from getting peed on by cats when they attack them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And all around just not a great couple. And the people are so afraid of them, they just stay away. And
they're so mad. They're so mad at them that their cats go missing.
Yeah,
but their fear of them keeps them from confrontation.
Yeah, because that they don't come out often. They've got that messy yard. They're like, oh man, when they go past it, go past the house, they're probably like, oh God, I hope they don't come out.
Yeah.
And it's, they got that look. Dude's in that his burlap outfit. You don't want none.
Nah, and he knows it. He knows I don't want none.
Yeah. Randomly, I was when I was doing the notes for this, I remembered something that happened when I was a kid. We had these crazy neighbors who would get really upset that our cats, we had two outside cats, were in their yard, and they used to like bug my dad, who used to sleep during the day because he worked at night. Yeah. And he used to like argue with the woman. She was out of her mind, and they poisoned our cats.
Wow.
One year. Yeah. It was a whole big thing. Yikes. And I remember this clearly. I was like, oh yeah. And then because I had just read this a couple of days ago, I was asking my mom about it. I was like, remember when they poisoned our cats? And yeah, we called the police and everything, and they used rat poison. It was nuts, and it was a whole big thing.
So yeah, that's wild. They poisoned the like ugh.
Yep. We found out.
Did anyone die? Did you kill anyone?
I didn't do anything, but I know my dad did. I don't know exactly what he did, because my dad's one of those like animal, but he's also like an animal lover, like over the top, like cry about pets that died a decade ago, but also a maniac. So that's my dad. Yeah. So anyway, I remember that story came back up when I was doing the notes for this, and I was like, oh man, I know exactly how these people feel. However, we would have lit their shack on fire. Anyway, so cut to one day, these dark wanderers from the south show up. So
yes, they do. They do.
Yes, they do. And we get this great quote.
One day, a caravan of strange wanderers from the south entered the narrow cobbled streets of Ulthar. Dark wanderers they were, and unlike the other roving folk who passed through the village twice every year, in the marketplace they told fortunes for silver and bought gay beads from the merchants. What was the land of these wanderers, none could tell. But it was seen that they were given to strange prayers, and that they had painted on the sides of their wagons strange figures with human bodies and the heads of cats, hawks, rams, and lion. And the leader of the caravan wore a headdress with two horns and a curious disc betwixt the horns.
All right, so definitely two things we can pull from this description. This is clearly inspired by, and it's also inspired by the Romani people, the quote unquote the gypsy travelers that roamed Europe, still to this day, actually, because it's actually kind of interesting, and I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but the term gypsy comes from the word Egyptian, because people thought that gypsies came from Egypt.
Yeah, well.
So you kind of see that, what happened there, and why Lovecraft used this description for them, because he's playing up that magical aspect that we'll see soon. But the painted on the side of this wagon are these gods with the human bodies and the heads of animals, which is notoriously the Egyptian style.
And it's all right with me.
Yeah, man. And then where he mentions the leader of the caravan wore a headdress with the two horns and curious disc. That is a specific call out to an Egyptian goddess named Hathor, who was the mother of the sky god Horus and the sun god Ra. And Hathor crossed boundaries between worlds, helping deceased souls in the transition to the afterlife. So, I guess he knew what he was doing there.
Yeah. Well, that also lends itself to the leader of that caravan,
Mm-hmm.
And what the part we're about to get to, that it's a nice little mood setter for those who are in the know when it comes to Egyptian gods. Yeah,
for sure. And then it's that almost kind of like a day of reckoning. It's almost like these people travel. They arrive in town. It's this little backwater town that not many people come to or whatever.
Right.
And there's kind of like these exotic folk that show up, and they have this telling fortunes, doing their show. Doing their whole thing, and it's it's cool. I'm sure it was probably something like this when it really happened in Europe back in the day. It was probably very interesting when these folks rolled into town. It was probably like
they're telling fortunes, they're doing all kinds of spooky magic stuff.
Yep, they can also give you cures if you turn into a werewolf, if you've ever seen that.
Right. They're like pulling their thumbs off, and people are like, whoa, and it's right back on,
Yep. Also, if you want to also check out Chocolat with Johnny Depp, also another prominently featured. I'm sorry.
I won't.
So
no thanks.
It's a great movie.
Sure. You're talking about chocolate, but no.
Yeah, exactly. In this caravan, we have this little orphan boy named Menace, or Menes, or Menes. Not mayonnaise.
No, it's mayonnaise.
It's mayonnaise?
I looked it up.
Rough.
They call him Mayo.
Little Mayo?
Last name, Little Mayo. His last name's Hellman's.
Oh, boy.
I
think it's Menace. I'm going to go with Menace because I've seen...
You're telling me the best night you had last month was eating summer salad and watching Chocolat with Johnny Depp?
Yeah. And pirouettes in my root beer?
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. By the way, Jon Favreau is amazing in that film.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So we have the little orphan boy named Menace, and he has this little black kitten, right? Mm-hmm. And Lovecraft lets us know that it was, brings him a lot of joy, and that it clearly was given to him to help him kind of like get over the loss of his parents.
Yeah.
Like, they say he smiles more than he cries kind of thing, but it's still definitely like, this is this kid's world, right? Yeah. He's young, he's got his little kitten, and like, this is what he's focused on. So,
and the Black Plague was not kind to him.
Yeah. Or whatever plague it was.
Yeah.
So also a little fun thing I found, Menace was actually a pharaoh of the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt, and was credited by classical tradition with having united Upper and Lower Egypt, and the founder of the first dynasty. I don't know if that's him, but
right,
that's what came up in my research.
Yeah, well, this little guy, he's packing quite a gift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not like that.
No. It's all good. It's all good. He has otherworldly gifts.
Yes. Packing quite an otherworldly gift. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So on the third morning of the Wanderers being in Ulthar, little Menace can't find his kitten. And he's freaking out, crying. He's in the middle of the marketplace. He's like, somebody, where's my cat? And one of the villagers tells him about the old cotter and his wife, and the sounds at night, and all this kind of stuff. And, he starts freaking out, but then he gets quiet, right?
Yes.
And then finally starts praying, all right? And then he does this epic thing where he stretches out his arms towards the sun and then starts, belting out some kind of like ancient tongue, like this curse or something, right?
Yes.
And people don't know what the hell's going on. And then the sky starts to change, right? There's these weird shapes in the sky. It's definitely Spook Central from Ghostbusters above the building. There's, there's purple lightning bolts. There's shapes in the clouds. And
the song goes, it's magic.
It is
magic.
Please.
Please.
Right. And everything seems to go back to normal. And then that's basically it, right? So, yes. and then that night, the Wanderers leave and are never seen again. Strange, right?
Very strange.
Very strange. However, that night as well, all the cats from the village are missing.
Yeah, man. There's a little hint of a different plague kind of going on here,
Yeah. H.P. Lovecraft's Wait Till Martin Comes.
Yeah.
So we get this passage here, which I'm just going to run through because this is great. We get some of this cast of characters. We get old Cranon, the burgomaster, right? He's like telling us that, all right, it was the dark folk who came in. They definitely took the cats all away for revenge of the killing of the little boy's kitten, right? That's his take on it. And curses the caravan and the little boy. But then we got our boy Nith, the lean notary, declared that it was the old Cotter and his wife because they were the likely persons, right? I mean, of course it was them, right?
Yes.
But then we have my favorite part is the little boy Atal, the innkeeper's son. So this is my favorite part of the story. He vowed that at twilight he had seen all the cats of Ulthar in that accursed yard under the trees, pacing very slowly and solemnly in a circle around the cottage, two abreast, as if in performance of some unheard of rite of beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Animal prayers.
Mm-hmm.
That's spooky.
Rite of beast. I was into it. I was very much so into it.
The rite of beasts. Reminds me of that video. Did you see the one with the turkeys that were like walking in a circle? It's that kind of stuff. It's like people. You just step back for a second. You're like, these guys have religion too?
Yeah, right. And there's like goats and llamas that do it too across the world that are just like in these circles, like just bobbing up and down, doing their thing. That's the noise of all beasts. Right. That's right. How you communicate with all of them.
Exactly.
I know some stuff too, guys.
Hey, I mean, when you got your when you got one foot in this world, you know a few things.
Exactly.
So at this point, the villagers, they don't really know what to believe, and honestly, they don't know what to believe to believe from this little boy, because it's like, beast rights. Come on. But they're like, honestly, it's probably the same guy, same people up to, it's the usual. Cats got killed by the Cotter and his wife, and I'm sure the dark travelers probably took a few with them. So
right, yeah, they're like, it's more plausible, than as a retaliation,
right,
for taking Menace's little kitten.
Yeah,
they're like, we're taking all your cats.
Right.
They're all coming with.
Right. So they all go to sleep, confused, because they don't know what's going on. Yeah, but when they wake up in the morning, all the cats are back.
Indeed they are.
But there's something very different about them.
And here's where I got a little confused with the description of, what was it, sleek and like well-fed at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I think the word they use is like sonorous, which means sleepy. Right,
but he also said sleek, right?
Yeah, they're sleek. So
like are they like sweating from meat sweats?
I don't think slick. I think he means in their movement. They're still just sleek. That's how cats are.
Right, but I always like picture like aerodynamic when I think of sleek, like.
I mean, cats are all the time, even when they're full.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, did I say full? I mean, I think it's no secret of what's going on here. we get 2 full days. The cats ignore their portions of meat and saucers of milk, and all they do is just doze by the fire or in the sun. They're just lazily walking around, just doing their cat shit, but they don't eat their food.
Yeah, anyone that's been to a Brazilian steakhouse knows what's happening here.
The whole car ride home, you're just like, I'm never eating again.
Yeah, right.
Yep. And honestly, if you've ever seen any, any of the like Animal Channel or like Discovery Channel, like lions after a kill, they just lay there. They have to sleep it off because they're like, oh.
Yeah, and like you see like the lady, the lionesses, they like kind of like lean up, like, oh.
Yeah.
What?
What day is it?
Oh. Why did I keep my button flipped on orange? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Why did you? Why? Yeah. Because you came for the free food.
Right. And then you're like, oh, why did I do the salad bar too?
Because that's a hell of a salad bar.
It is true. You have to do it.
It's not just salad bar. It's fruits. There's all these pastas. There's meats, cheeses.
Yeah,
it's out of control.
I got the gabagool last time. I went off on some gabagool, man.
Yeah, honestly, Ken, I think if we ever come into some money, we should open up the Ulthar steakhouse.
Yeah, cats eat free.
Goddamn right they do. We don't need problems.
Yeah. Every server has horns with a disc in between them.
Right. We could do an Egyptian motif. Cats are just allowed to wander as they may.
Yeah, right.
So, aside from the cats being, silly for 2 days, we fast forward a week, and the villagers notice that there hasn't been no light has been seen coming from the old Cotter's house. Right. And furthermore, no one has even seen them since the night that the Wanderers left.
Right.
So, that's weird. They think about that for a whole other week after that. So this is 2 weeks going on. And then the Burgermaster overcomes his fears, but also brings Shang the blacksmith and Thul the cutter of stone, just in case, because he's like, no, you go in first. He just looks behind.
I think the description, they're as witnesses. They're witness to it's my duty. They got to be here. I'm not scared or anything.
Right? No, I'm not scared. Like no one. He just looks over to him. Who are you calling a psycho?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything to you. Heavy with the references tonight.
Yeah.
So then we get this third quote.
And when they had broken down the frail door, they found only this: 2 cleanly picked human skeletons on the earthen floor, and a number of singular beetles crawling in the shadowy corners.
That was like Egyptian reference there too.
Yep, we got the beetles. Maybe they were, also they were the witnesses to the cats.
Yeah, but helping pick the bone too. Is there,
Yeah, but I love this that it's just the aftermath that's found. Like 2 weeks later, there's it's this pick clean skeleton, and this is very much in the Lovecraft mode where we're gonna have like just the aftermath to tell us the story, which is great. So I mean, because your mind fills in the blanks. It's that night the cats showed up. You think they knocked, or do you think they knocked the door down? How do you think they got in?
I think one of them was probably like at first was like, "Show yourselves," like another one was like, "Oh yeah, do it," we know what you've done.
Right. Or do you think? What do you think? One walked up and was like, "Hey, you want to skin me?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then they opened the door, and then they all flooded in like 150 cats.
Come get it. You need it. Oh.
I mean, he could have been a saucy cat. I mean, that's a lot more cat-like, right?
Right. Yeah. It was totally, and especially it probably like messed with it too. Like, I have so much more fur than the other cats.
Yeah. And hey, while you're at it, look at my butthole because I'm a cat.
We do this too. That's probably why they hated them.
Yeah, it was. They didn't hate cats. They hated buttholes.
They're like, if I see one more butthole,
one more cat balloon knot,
one more cat butthole.
Lovecraft is rolling in his grave right now,
staring at me in the eye, like the eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
Every time they see a cat, they just see its butthole, like the eye of Sauron.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they clearly had issues. That's probably what it was. They had some kind of like psychosis about, these buttholes. Things. Kitty brown eyes. I don't know. Sorry, folks.
I'm not sorry at all.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so after this happens, there's much discussion and confusion in the town. Nobody can get their head around it, right? They're like, it's clear what happened, but like when this stuff kind of happens, right? There's always going to be speculation. It's like, so what happened? The kid cast an evil spell, and then the cats ate the old people because they killed cats, and then everyone's like, yeah. But there's always got to be the guy who has like, I'll tell you what really happened.
Yeah,
the globalists came in. There always has to be that guy, right?
Yeah, well, the little kid. He was like, they gave him sweetbreads. They were like,
sweetmeats.
Yeah, sweetmeats. That's sweetmeats. Like, here's your sweetmeats. And he's like, well, I'm telling you, man.
Telling me, man, I saw it. There was beast rituals. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
The sky opened up. The shapes. I don't know. They had the animal heads.
Yeah.
Pyramids.
Basement of the pizzeria. There was heads of animals. Cremation of care.
Yeah. A spirit flew out of a cat's butthole in the sky.
Right. What they didn't tell you is that the name of the cat was named Moloch. They didn't tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we get this final quote of the story, which I think wraps it up really nicely.
And in the end, the Burgesses passed that remarkable law which is told of by traders in Hathig and discussed by travelers in Nier. Namely, that in Ulthar no man may kill a cat.
Just don't do it.
No, and when things like this go down, when like magic can show up and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's funny you were talking about your cat story, the neighborhood I grew up in. Dude, cats abound. There were so many cats, wild cats. We were lousy with them, but. And you'd hear them fighting in the morning, like 5 in the morning.
Yep.
You'd be like, oh my God, the Blair Witch is out there.
Yeah.
But one time a car hit one right out front of my mom's, and we saw it, and I was like, I gotta bury this fucking thing. Just going, I gotta bury this freaking thing. Yeah. So me and a buddy, we grabbed a shovel and we scooped it up in the shovel, took it around back, buried it, so a little cat prayer. I was like, I did that.
Yeah.
And we buried it because I felt bad.
No, man, I've buried a few cats in my time. It's they're wonderful little companions. I can see why people get myself included, why people get so tied up with them.
Yeah.
I won't go through all of them, but it's rough, man. I mean, it's there's something about cats with their they seem to have this weird spooky intelligence that's
this one was a black cat, and then years later the new house, me and Brittany are coming in from work, and the light was out. We would go into the downstairs door, and I hear by my foot, and I was like, whoa! I was like, what was that? And it's a kitten. It's a black kitten. Oh man, it was so cute. We were feeding it for a while. Then another one came, and it was a kitten too, and we named them Poe and Salem.
Nice.
And we were taking care of them for a while, and then one night, dude, I go out to feed it for a bit because we wanted to adopt them real bad. They were so sweet and they were so nice. And we went outside, and I never seen a cat like this, bro. Its face had so much character. The head was huge, and I think it even had a scar over its one eye.
Right.
And it looked at me from the stairs like, "What are you doing with these cats?" It was like.
Right.
Coming to see what all the noise, what's been happening, where these two cats been going at night, and dude, it was so weird. And then I told my mom about it, and she came with during the day with a carrier because my mom does a lot of work with the ASPCA and stuff.
Right.
So she was able to get Salem, but we couldn't find Poe, and I never saw Poe again after that night. But we were able to get Salem, and she wanted to keep it too, but someone ended up adopting it. But it was a great cat. It was an awesome cat.
Yeah, you probably encountered some kind of spiritual cat.
I swear to God, it was a cat spirit. It had to be. Hey. It was wild. I never seen a cat like it. Brittany will tell you about it too. It was wild.
Yeah. No, there's I know there's in Japanese tradition. There's this spirit cat thing that kind of has was encountered in times, and it has this unnatural intelligence about it, and I can see why people get to this because cats really do have this thing about them where they have it's almost like they only need us a little bit just to fill the bowl, change the litter, but other than that they do their own thing, and it's you can kind of almost see hey, we're asleep, they're probably doing a whole other thing. I mean, dude, even now, I'll wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, or whatever, and like my cats will be out on like the landing by by the stairs, and they're always, it's like, you guys are up to something. I can fucking tell.
They're like, put the cards away, put the cards away, put the cards away. You know.
Yeah.
Meow. And then you walk away. They're like, all right, you got any spades? You know.
You have to stop smoking these cigars. It's waking them up.
Yeah. I need my stogie.
Right. Exactly.
Cats.
Cats. So Ken, obviously I mentioned at the top, but I don't know if you realized before reading this story, but old HPL had a mighty affection for the felines.
I had no idea, my friend. I had no inkling.
Yep, it's they appear notably in this story. Upcoming, we have the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, which is a doozy, and then we also have one of his most well-known tales, The Rats in the Walls. Oh my god, I can't wait till we get to that story.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and he also has this quaint little essay called "Cats and Dogs" from 1926, which it's pretty funny. I mean, it's like a good 8-paragraph long essay about cats and dogs, and it's funny. And this HP goes into depths about the superiority of cats, stating that, quote, "The dog appeals to cheap and facile emotions, the cat to the deepest fonts of imagination and cosmic perception in the human mind."
Right.
He also goes on to say, dog lovers base their whole case on these commonplace, servile, and plebeian qualities, and amusingly judge the intelligence of a pet by its degree of conformity to their own wishes.
Yo, did HP just call me plebeian?
Oh, did he call you a pleb? 100%.
Yeah,
oh yeah, we're getting some of HP's snobbery here.
Yeah,
and then
man.
And this one, this probably sums it up nicely, where he says, "The dog is a peasant and the cat is a gentleman."
Where's King? Where are you heading, peasant? Look at him back there.
He's over there. He's over there forking hay. What do you mean? What's he doing? He's being a peasant. There he is. Yep.
Yeah, we named him that because he'd never be one,
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. It's so good. And Lovecraft often brings up the Egyptians and their worship of cats. He also brings up other periods of history and their relation with cats or dogs is reflected on, like there's the prosperity of that time period. He kind of relates it that if it's so what Lovecraft learned, and what all humans need to learn, is that cats just might be the true gods, bringing prosperity to the land in exchange for food, scratching posts, and protection from the scoundrel dogs. So, truly, we humans also have something to learn from cats. The cat has dignity and is self-possessed, needing no one. The cat will not take your bullshit nor that of anyone else. We should all strive to be more cat-like. And I said bullshit, not HP. So there's the old gent's thoughts on the difference between cats and dogs.
Right. Well, cats also too. They hunt rodents and protect from all those diseases they have.
Oh yeah, the term mouser. I mean, you would have a cat in your house as a mouser because it was that is like one of the great benefits of having cats in your house is you will not have any rodents whatsoever. Right. So I mean, once we get the house, we're definitely getting a cat, but just it's too small right now. Yeah, no, I like both. I mean, if you ask me, I would say I'm more of a cat person, but you get two different types of relationship, right? You get the dog relationship with like here's my buddy, right? And then the cat is like, what's up, buddy? How's it going? And he's like, not today. It's like, all right. No, you're the dog exactly. You're like, oh, but there's the boy, like, oh, you're cute. And then you see the cat and you're like, what are you doing? What's up? He looks at you. What are you doing? Yeah. What's up with you, man? Why does this cat have an English accent? Meow. Right. Yeah, right. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, this my big dumb one just came up to me. He was like, "You doing accents, Dad?" Yeah. No, he's like, "You're doing me? You doing an impression?" Oh, it's funny, man. I mean, we finally got cats after moving into this house, and it was like the missing piece. Like my kids, I have 3 daughters. They love that cat. Like we have 2, but the one she's called Misty. And for a reason, we never we see her. No one's allowed to touch her except maybe once in a while my daughters, but I can't come near the cat. She runs. But Binks is my boy. We hang out. We're the only 2 boys in the house. I come over, he stretches out like an accordion because he knows he's getting belly rubs. Yeah, so so it's good times. He's running interference for Misty. Right. Right. She's probably upstairs.
She's warding the house all the time. She's chasing off evil spirits.
Yeah, she's upstairs drawing mystical symbols on the walls to keep, whatever.
yeah, at bay.
Right.
And the other one's like, oh, Misty's the only one that knows how to do this. But he's like, I'm reaping all the benefits.
Right. Exactly.
It'd be super funny though if like in the cat world it's like super disrespectful to like get belly rubs and all that, and it's like I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. It's all for the the bigger picture. You gotta think of the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's all for the for the look that no, I'm just a cat.
Meanwhile, Misty's protecting the infants from the little troll.
Yeah, oh man, what a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this story remained one of HPL's personal favorites, which is rare because there's only a few that he actually liked after the fact.
Yeah.
And this was considered, because we've spoken about it previously, this was the best of his quote Dunsanian tales. So man, I mean this is a favorite. I really like the story. I was thinking, because I have this series of Lovecraftian figures going on. I was like, you know what? I think I have to do a cat of Ulthar. So I started sculpting that when I was sitting here reading it. So
nice. Oh yeah.
So, but then further, I guess it bears some mentioning. We have the first. He's not a major character, but the little boy character of Atal, the innkeeper's son, who witnesses this whole thing with the weird the beast ritual, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
He's going to show up in a few more stories. He comes up in the Other Gods, which is coming up, where he's now an adult and he becomes an apprentice to this character Barzai the Wise.
Okay.
And then later on we're going to see him in the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. However, because of you'll get it when we read it, it actually takes place 300 years after the events in the Cats of Ulthar, and the town is now heavily populated by felines. So it's like a callback. So we'll see that later, and then also our boy Randolph Carter's in that story as well. That story is gonna be because I'm looking ahead. We're starting to get to some longer stories.
There we go.
And this is a very short one. Our next story coming up, which I'm very excited for, is the temple, and you are going to love that story.
Yeah, you've told me about it. I'm excited for that one.
From what I understand, it's the first, and I'll do further research, so if I'm wrong here, crucify me in an email or whatever you want to do. But I think it's the first horror story to take place in a submarine, so it's good stuff. So yeah, that's the Cats of Ulthar. So what are your final thoughts on the story, Ken?
Yeah, I dig it. I as an animal lover myself, I'm a lover of the supernatural and also Egyptian culture. It's just like the mysticism involved with the Egyptian culture. I love the underworld and the other side and all that.
Right, the obsession with death.
Yeah, right. It's such a it was such a cool, bing, bing, bing of
check boxes.
Yeah, it was like connecting dots here, and then you get a beast ritual. So what,
right?
I'll take it every day.
Yep. I definitely don't think we're going to read a story later on where cats talk and people can speak cat language. We're definitely not getting into that.
You mean not like I was doing earlier when I was doing?
Actually, it's on par with that. Dreamcast, the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath is complete batshit. It's crazy, but in a good way. It's nuts, but in a good way, and it's going to take us a while to get through that one.
Right, I'm into it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So yeah, man. I'm glad we got to this one. It's a personal favorite. It's also I know a lot of people like this story. Actually, people mention it quite a bit. And it's a good, clean, easily read and understood supernatural revenge story. We don't have to worry. We don't have to wonder if somebody poisoned a friend.
Yeah.
So here's we're. Is this your 11th story? I think this is your 11th story.
So. Yeah.
How we doing? How we doing in the world of all things Lovecraftian? I know we're just you're about ankle deep right now. That's about it.
We were slumping a bit there for a minute. We were doing a little slumping, but came back, got
Yep.
on base. So, hopefully the next one drives this run in. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. And I know there's a lot of stuff ahead. I just was like,
Yes.
I was tired of over description. I was tired of that. Like,
Yes. There will continue to be that. However, going forward, what they're going to be over describing, you're going to be like, yes, please describe this more.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
he's honing these tools, and when we get to later
Right.
stories, even just the next story, you're going to love the next story.
well, yeah, I just meant over description of things that I'm like,
Yes.
I don't care
Yes.
about that wall. I don't care about
Yes.
that wall and the size of it. I don't,
Yep. Well, that is very Lovecraftian. That's his mode. I mean, he likes to describe. I mean, we'll see when we get to later stories. He likes it. He has a hard on for architecture, specifically New England architecture. But once it starts to get together, and he makes that, once his recipe is perfected, and he puts all those things in there, and you have these stories that have all these things that we're kind of forming now, that he's forming now in these earlier stories, you're really going to get into it. I promise you.
it's going to be a hell of a gumbo.
It is. It is. So, all right, man. So that's the Cats of Ulthar, and I guess we'll see you next time for the temple. So for this episode of Learning Lovecraft, I've been your host, Jason McKittrick,
And I've been Ken James.
and we'll see you on the other side of sleep.